Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for an episode of Digital Soul Presents for the new year 2024. We're doing something a little bit different here. We're doing something with a five-man panel. We're discussing our five favorite funk ballads. Now, everybody wants to know, what is a funk ballad? A funk ballad can be many definitions in many different people. So we all have different opinions. There's so many groups: Ohio Players, Bootsy, The Deal, The Whispers, Lakeside, so many are not considered funk, but they're R&B bands, but they've done funk, or funk bands that are strictly funk have done soft ballads. So it can go any way, it's your pick. So we're gonna do this round table and kick it off. We want to start off with my brother Lamar Webster. If everybody can go ahead and introduce themselves and also let us know what you do musically, and then we can just go around the table and everybody have introduce themselves. Let's start with
Okay. My name is Lamar Webster. I'm a native of Dayton, Ohio. I lived in California for 39 years. I'm now in Alabama, but I grew up as a funkster. I grew up watching the Ohio Players, the Overnight Low, uh, hearing about groups like Huntsy and the Entertainers and the Imperials. And for every group that got a record deal out of Dayton, you probably had another three groups that did not get a deal, but they were just as good. So Dayton was a lively city, and the kids had many places to play. And I'm a bass player, self-taught. I also play a little bit of keys.
cool, cool. Delbert, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
All right, yes, I'm Delbert Jones. I'm also from Dayton, Ohio, born and raised in the funk center of the nation. And I'm 72 years old, so I've been in this for quite a while, still playing, still recording. And I work with my son at N Key Productions. And, one of our latest productions was with Mace, worked on his last album. In fact, I had the honor of playing guitar on that album. And growing up, one thing I wanted to preface this is to say that talking about funk and about funk ballads in particular is that we danced, boogied, and partied to funk music in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s in Dayton, Ohio. But we were also vessels of tranquility and peace. Our parents went to church on Sundays and saw that their children attended Sunday school. And embedded deeply within those spiritual roots were the seeds of American jazz, R&B, soul, and funk. And as we creatively changed the pace and slowed things down and broke down to the task of creating ballads, it was done in a very spiritual and reverent state of mind. No tricks, no games. Love and caring was holy and not to be taken for granted or treated lightly. Accordingly, lyrics from these ballads became wedding songs representing the promise of staying together forever. Al Green said, uh, I'm so in love with you. Let's stay together. So I'll pass on to the next guy. Thanks.
Brother Delbert kicking some knowledge and a little bit of history for y'all right there. Yeah. Right there. Brother Terrence.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like you said, brother Terrence. Some folks reference me as Cochran T, or Cochran Humphries. I'm a sound engineer. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I grew up running sound. I'd say I started at age 11, 12. Got caught acting up during church in the basement. All right, while Pastor Parker was carrying on his sermon, and they yanked me and a couple other kids that were acting up over the line, crossing puberty, just acting like we was acting, stuck me behind the board, the console that was recording all the sermons on Sunday mornings, for Sunday mornings, um, and ultimately, the recordings that would play on WDAO at 6, 7 in the morning when we were, getting ready for school under my mom's watch. Um, Took that on to the military, got training in the service as an electrical engineer, so electrical engineering, sciences and whatnot. And then from there, left the Navy honorably and went into recording engineering at Ohio University, which had at the time, they were ranked third in the country as telecommunication schools. But my focus was recording engineering. So I ended up getting through that program with a pretty smart degree in distributed digital communications with a corollary in recording engineering and production finance planning. All of that just means I run the board and I'm good with money.
Thank you. And we got DJ Funkclone. What it do, brother?
Yeah, man. Okay, my name is Paul Altamirano. I run online radio podcast called Funkclone Radio. I also run another channel called The Wrap Up. I got into music at a very early age, listening to records that my parents had and my relatives had, and just had a special love for music, especially R&B and funk music. Ended up learning to play the drums a little bit. I played drums. I played in marching band in high school. I learned how to play some keyboards a little bit, and I learned how to DJ in my teen years. And I did go to school for sound engineering, recording, so I do have that under my belt as well. And I just have a special love for music, especially the music I listen to. And it's a part of my life, and it's what drives me every day.
Word up.
Ooh.
What else?
It is.
And I'm JD, also known as Digital Soul. I just love music. Well, I don't even know how to answer that, but you for a gentleman, saying all that you said. I mean, I'm a percussionist, a drummer, a keyboardist, producer, arranger. I'm an artist. I'm a performer. I engineer. I mix. I'm a co-host of another show called The Purple Brothers. I host this show. So I'm tired. With that being said, let's get the ball rolling.
So the last time we did this, I had this song, and some of my Dayton homies got on me. So I'm gonna start off right this time. Song number one that I chose, "I Want to Be Free" by the Ohio Players. It's really nothing else to say. There's never been a song with that intro like that. Jim Diamond on the drums. The way it went down, it was just a great song. So that's my first one. Number two, another Ohio Connect, Computer Love with Roger / the Charlie Wilson version, because there's two versions. And I just found the Charlie Wilson version. And for those who don't know, Charlie, when he did that, him and Roger didn't know there was going to be a conflict about Charlie being on it. So when it got out, it got put on, I guess, either Zapp or Rogers' album. And Charlie's people started crying, "Hey, what's this Computer Love? We don't know nothing about that." So make a long story short, his label went and got a cease and desist. And so Roger and them had to pull all of Charlie's vocals. And that's when they gave Shirley Murdoch a little bit more into the mix, because she was already in there, but she was like laid in the back. So if you guys, I have the link for that. I'll share it with you guys, but you can hear the difference in that original mix and then with her mix, because they did some stuff with the drums in there too that was a little bit different. But that, I just heard that original version for the first time last week when I was doing research for my list. So that was my number two. My number three, I know nobody didn't pick this because this is a sleeper. It's called Spaceship Coupe, and it's by Justin Timberlake. It was off that Suit and Tie album. And if you listen to that one, man, it's got a Bootsy kind of feel to it. So that's number three. Number four, I had to go with Sunshine, Alexander O'Neal. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, that's just our all-time favorite song. And my last one that made my top five was Bootsy, What's the Telephone Bill? So those are my top five that I chose.
I like that. I can dig that, man.
I think two of them I never heard of.
What's
Yeah,
number two?
Did you hear me? The third one, that
Spaceship
last
Coupe.
one. Yeah, never heard it. That's all right. And then the last
Yeah, yeah, that's by Justin Timberlake. It's on his Suit and Tie album. It's
I never,
produced by Jimmy Douglas and Timberlake.
yeah, I
And
never heard that.
yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
Let me
As a
ask you
matter
a
of fact,
question about Lamar. Let me ask you a question about this, the computer love thing, because on the album, on the Zap album, you do hear Charlie's vocals on there with Shirley Murdoch's vocals. So, is there a version that only has Charlie Wilson's vocals? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, there's one that has more of Charlie's vocals on it than
Oh, I.
Shirley. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So,
And
so on the album
and
version,
I
it kind
think
of
he
cuts
did,
down.
and I think he did another verse too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he
Okay.
did a maybe a third verse, whatever. But he was more prominent in it. But I guess Warner Brothers wanted it for. Was it on Rogers' album or Zap's album?
Was
It
on
was
Zap.
that. Yeah.
Okay, so Warner Brothers wanted it for Zap's album, and then when Charlie's people found out about it, they wanted it on Charlie's album. So
Oh,
they
okay.
had they had a little bit of litigation about it, and then they went to court and they got a cease and desist order. So I thought that they had pulled most of the ones that they had Charlie on it.
So they just kind of buried Charlie's vocals more in the mix. Then is what you're saying. They kind of
Yeah,
buried it.
yeah. Because the one that I heard, he was more prominent.
Okay.
And he was the focal point, even to the point that Zap vocoder was low. It was like Charlie was the guest, but Zap let him just have complete reign.
Okay.
And so yeah, they tamed it down for the final version, pulled it back, sir.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
My top one, and since I'm a little bit older, I can go back a little bit further in time and pick mine. Okay. So my first one is I Want to Get Next to You, the Rolls Royce from the movie Car Wash. And that came out in 1976. And for me, that was a tender song of desire to attain the impossible girl. And I think we all at some time had a moment like that in our lives, and where we try to get a girl who's like just unattainable. And I think a lot of people think of that song when they think of that situation. I know I do. So that's my first one is I Want to Get Next to You. And my second one is Reasons by Earth, Wind and Fire. It's on a That's the Way of the World album, 1975. I think everybody had that album cover, because back then the art was part of the whole journey when you had a song or an album that you loved. And you go to somebody's house and they'd have their album covers lined up on the floor, and as a show. So everybody had that album cover, the one where they looked like they was laying sideways, the black and white cover.
I have
But
that cover on.
anyway,
I have that cover on my wall now. As we
there we
The
speak.
go.
writing was in
Yeah,
red. I think
yeah,
the letters were written in red, right? Very thin red. Am
yeah.
I?
Right across the top of the album.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
yeah.
But that particular song was it was the ultimate sing along. Everybody tries to sing that song. It's a love song about a one night stand that left us wondering, or any listener wondering, or having that experience of the one night stand. Why do we have to go and do what ultimately was kind of a mess up? Yeah, it's just after the love game has been played, all our illusions faded away, which means to me, uh, the mystery and that loss of innocence after doing the do, it made you feel funny, you know, and that was why I picked that song. My third one is if ever you're in my arms again. That was Peabo Bryson in 1984. And the reason why I picked that song was because it's more of an anthem of love that was crying out for redemption He's begging for his woman because he messed up. Give me another chance, and begging for redemption with the promise of being better next time. And I think some of us probably been in that situation too. We messed up and you're begging for another chance. So that's my number 3. My fourth one is The Greatest Love of All, Whitney Houston, 1986. And that was a ballad that was almost a spiritual funk ballad of inspiration by finding your strength in love. That's what that song was about. And my last pick, and it's a nostalgic pick, is Our Love by Natalie Cole, 1977. And that was a tale of how great a shared love can be. All she talked about was like how big and how fantastic, in detail our love is. So it's a testament or a testimony to that feeling of exhilaration and just that love was everything.
Funkclone, what you got?
Okay. My top 5. The first one that I'm gonna say here is Voyage to Atlantis by the Isley Brothers, 1977. That song to me is probably the best funk ballad that I've ever heard in my life. From Ernie's guitar playing to just the composition that Chris Jasper's the songwriting on that song. It's just a beautiful, beautiful song. Second one I'm gonna say is "A Love of Your Own" by the Average White Band from 1976. That's just another one of those great, great songs with a great story. Where he's talking about where he's on tour and he wants to be with his woman, and he's far away from her. Great song. Creepin', Stevie Wonder from 1974. The way he composed that song, the way he put that together is it's just so otherworldly. It's like you're like somewhere else. It's just hard to even describe the feeling I get when I hear that song. That song is just so beautiful. Love You Down by Ready for the World, 86. Those guys have a lot of great ballads. So did the Isaac. They have a lot. It's hard to choose one or two from those two bands. But Ready for the World, they have a lot of good ballads as well. But Love You Down to me, that's like my favorite one from them. I love that song.
Wow.
The fifth one, I'm going to say The Beautiful Ones by Prince, 84, off the Purple Rain album and from the movie. That song is just blows me away how he put that together. It just the whole thing. It's just from the lyrics to the way the song goes, the changes on it. It's just where did he get that from? Those are my top 5, guys.
Good ones, man.
Fellas,
Really good.
Absolutely.
all y'all have named classics. Just much respect on that. The classics y'all are dropping are taking me back, because I'm going through it. I lived feeling and flowing music. So it's deep. It's deep. Take me back. My number 1, my first pick is Can't Hide Love by Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh, yeah.
If you got in class, I'm thinking
Oh,
some of
yeah.
them be crisscrossing up in here because we just telling the truth. All right. Sparkle, Cameo.
Oh yeah.
I was waiting for that one.
Yeah, I was too.
Yeah, I had to hit y'all with that. Yeah.
I was too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna change something up. I'm gonna call this one out now. Turn Off the Lights, Teddy Pendergrass.
Okay.
My man
I wasn't expecting that one.
Hey, I wasn't either. Yeah, I'm like, I gotta respect because that's what I heard growing up.
Yeah.
that means everybody was vibing on it then, in that moment in time.
That's right. I had the honor of seeing him perform that live at Hare Arena,
I did
and
too.
it brought the house down.
I
Yeah.
bet.
See, I can't even imagine. I hear you.
Remember he did the ladies only tour?
Right.
Remember
Man,
when Teddy did
that's
that? He had a
genius.
ladies only tour, man.
That's genius from a promotion
Yeah.
perspective. That's genius.
Yeah.
The record companies used to put work in, fellas. They were admirable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's a whole other story and show. But let me drop this. Let me wrap this list up. My man's gonna love this. Close and Slow by Prince.
Interesting. Interesting.
All right. That's
Oh, when we're dancing close and slow? That one. Oh, yeah.
Dude, yeah. Paul, I know you know what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Fellas, well, that brother was ahead of everybody running with him. My number one on my list, my number one pick, Always and Forever, Johnny Wilder and Heatwave, Dayton, Ohio.
Ooh.
Again, that's another wedding song.
Bruh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Yeah.
That one ain't gonna never get old.
Immortalized. Yeah.
You know what I found out about that song was somebody asked Johnny on an interview, how did that song sound the way it sounded? And I heard that they brought in an audience of like maybe 15 or 20 people. And when they recorded that song, of course, you know, they were playing it live, but Johnny was singing with a live audience inside the studio.
Okay.
And that's why I had that kind of emotion in it, you know, because, you know, back then, I'm sort of happy that everybody is picking analog recording songs, which meant every drummer, every bass player, all the musicians played on all of these songs that have been mentioned so far. And that's a lost art. It's a lost art. You know, if you stop, you made a mistake here to start over. That song is almost 7 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But because they had a live audience there, Johnny was able to milk that emotion and you know, it had dynamics in it and everything. And he was smart the way he did that. But I'll move on because somebody else might pick this other song that I'd going to say. So yeah, so I'll move on from there. But yeah, that's a great list, man. Always and Forever. Yes, that's a great song.
Yeah, absolutely. That song right there, man. That hits home right there. That no matter what you're doing, when that song come on, it's like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it hit home. Right?
Yeah, that Always and Forever. You hear that song and it makes you think about where you were when you first heard it.
Yeah.
And if you went to a party or a club, you trying to, okay, which one of these chicks I'm gonna ask to, you know, if you're single, you know. But if you had a date, of course you go, hey baby, come on, let's dance on that one. Because that was just one of those slow grind songs right there, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Great choices, man. Great choices.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm loving them all, man. I got okay, so I got 5 too. One of my picks is actually from the Ohio Players. Heaven Must Be Like This. That song to me has everything in it. It's jazzy. Billy Beck's playing, his piano playing, you know, Sugarfoot is just you know, everything. It changes tempos. I mean, this is a great song, and I just loved it. When I heard it as a child, I love that song still today. I cannot turn from that song. So that's definitely one of my favorite as a funk ballad. And another one I picked, I had to keep this in there because Lamar mentioned this, but I have to keep it because it's so high on my list, and that is the Zap Computer Love. I have to mention this because this one is another one I heard as a kid. As a kid, I had a rap group. I was about 13 years old. We even made a rap off of this called Computer Rhyme. So we loved the song as a kid. the song came out when during Valentine's Day, so the song has a history with me. And then Lamar, you're absolutely correct about the versions, because when I listen to funk ballads, or however you want to categorize it, these songs, I picked these songs, the reason being is if I removed all the vocals off of every one of these songs that I named and I just heard all the music, I would be like okay with that, because the music is enough in these 5 songs for me to be like, damn, that shit is hard. It got everything I need. So these are why I picked these songs. So imagine these songs without the vocals, you'd probably be okay, the music is okay. But Zap, that computer love, and how that set a trend, even with that doom, boom, everybody has used that. Everybody pulled so much from that song. And that song then was so ahead of its time, and still ahead of its time with all the shit that's going on all through that song with the noises and so forth. So that is why I had to keep that on my list. And the versions, you're right, the version on the album mastering wise is actually much different than the 12-inch version, which I think is like an 8-minute version. The sound on that one is a lot more flat on that version.
Right. And you know what? To piggyback on that, I knew that this song was going to be historic when I saw it in Menace to Society. Remember when they went to the park and the girl pulled up in the car and somebody else was coming down and they was playing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, that's Zap. I was like, oh man, this, because even though we was on the West Coast, of course we heard it out there, but I just didn't realize the scope of how big. And that also let me know at that time too, that the Latinos were into Zap big time.
Absolutely.
Back then too.
That's from the West. That's from out
I
west.
was gonna mention that being the Latino here out of all of us, Latinos love Zap out here.
Yeah.
That's a respected. That's to be respected. A whole nother culture, because you can tell they do with all of their heart. So it's a connection from ethnicity. That's my soapbox. But yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, that computer loves, man, that sparks up a conversation all of its own, man. It's still a trendsetter,
So that was your second one, right? You still got
that was
3
my
more?
second one, yeah.
Okay.
So
All right.
my next pick is Rising to the Top by Kenny Burke, from '82. That is another one of those songs, like just the music by itself. It's a 2-stepping song. It's a cool song. It's a smooth song. It's a chill song, and it's another one of those songs that when it's on, I just cannot turn from it. I have to listen to it. Even if I could run it back and play it again, it's one of those songs I can listen to back to back.
Is that the song that Dougie Fresh samples on his '88 album?
Yeah.
Keep Rising to the Top?
Yeah.
He was one of the stair step singers.
Yeah.
Okay. He played bass too, right? Bass guitars. Okay.
Yeah, that bass line in that song is,
I'm gonna have to listen to that one.
Yeah. Okay. Just the bass and the drums by itself. Man, just that. By the way it comes on, and the way it comes on, the intro, it just creeps up on you, because there's like this synthesizer kind of run that kind of fades in, and then that kick drum kicks in and that bass kicks in, and it just take you on a mind trip. It's a great song, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Another one I picked, man, was Prince, If I Was Your Girlfriend. That one to me, great song, man. The bass in that song always gets me. Him playing that bass, man. The bottom in that song is just God. Like, and the message, in that song, about the things he wanted. He would go so far to do these things, go help her pick out her clothes, before she goes out, things like that. So those are things that men have thought about at some point in their life, but he was just man enough to say, I actually want to do that. So I thought that was a great song. He actually just laid it out on a line on top of a banging, soundtrack there. That drum machine and that dum 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 bum bum dum 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 bum. That shit right there. Me every time, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And my last pick, man, is The Time. Gigolos Get Lonely Too.
Oh yeah.
That's another one. When it starts off, it just creeps up on you, man, with that little synth drum sound. It just, it just kind of creeps in, and then that kick drum kicks in, and Morris takes us on a ride, man, tells us, why gigolos get lonely too. So I love that one too as well. Another one that you can just mellow out to. It's got that bottom on it as well. You can slow grind to it, cruise to it. You can do a lot of things in that one too as well.
Right, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Man.
that's that song where when they do that song live, uh, they bring that little table out and put a flower in a vase there
Right,
and invite
right,
one
right.
of the girls to come up and sit with
Yeah,
them
yeah,
to enjoy that love and feeling just for that moment. And
yeah,
the girls usually look like they about ready to fall out when they get there.
yeah.
But it's a strong vibration.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I like that showmanship, man. Different groups, especially of course in the funk or R&B space, they're sensitive enough performers to they'll theatrically enhance their presentation in a live performance setting.
Right.
And, thoughtful, slow down so you can live it with them. Those kind of things, man. And I don't know. There's so many topics about the music industry. You know, so many.
Yeah, there's so many layers there, because the time was a product of Prince's camp, and Prince had a habit of walking in and saying, "You could be doing more." Jimmy Jam, what are you doing with your left hand?
Right.
Oh, I'm not playing anything. Well, you could be playing something. So
Right.
there was that sense of wanting to participate bodily in everything that you could do, make everything part of that song and the show.
Yeah.
Right.
He really pushed them big time. He would really push all the musicians and all the artists that he had under his umbrella. He really wanted them to be the best they could be.
Everybody's going to go a round table because it's hard to narrow down 5 funk ballads. So everybody's going to go around with an honorable mention. Everybody kind of went over to 10, 15. So there's another 5 in everyone's heart that everyone still, ranks very, very high. So we're going to pick our honorable mentions, and we got Lamar to start it off with.
My first one is going to be a Prince song. I think I chose it the last time too, but I can't remember if it made my top 5 or if it was in my honorable mention. But that's "I Hate You" by Prince.
Okay. Okay.
And again, going by your description, JD, if you take the vocals out and just listen to the music,
Yeah.
it's slamming.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
drummer,
Yeah.
you can hear those live drums in there, and that was a really good one for me. The next one that I had is another Minneapolis connection, and that's "So Fine" by Mint Condition.
Mm.
I just put that one back in,
Yeah, you
and
did.
Yeah.
That was the last time
I
I
just put that one back in.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
That one's
Because
hard too, man.
man, the guitar solo coming in
Yeah.
at the intro,
That's
and
that's
then they
that's
just boom.
Odell. That's brother
That's
Odell
right.
on that
Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
Yep.
So that one really gets that one gets to me, man. I mean, I could see them playing that just live. My third one, this was a sleeper that just came up in about the last month. "All the Things Your Man Won't Do" by Joe.
Okay.
I heard that in the Tank and Jay Valentine's R&B Money podcast, and one of their guests talked about that song, and I went and listened to it, and I was like, yeah, that song that's dope. So that song, my number 4, "Love Changes." I'm gonna, even though Mother's Finest did the original, I'm gonna go with Kashif and was it Lisa? What's her? Lisa Morgan? What was that
Melissa
girl's name?
Morgan.
Melissa Morgan. Yeah, that version.
Okay.
Kashif and Melissa Morgan. That song, that's how you do a remake.
Yeah.
Make it your own and just the vocals that they did on that song was just really fantastic. And then my last one is another Ohio group, another Dayton group on top of that. And it's Starting All Over by Slade. One of their best ballads for mine was that.
I like that one too a lot.
Starlina Young, when she came in on the concept and then Just a Touch and then Stone Jam, to me, that was the peak of the whole Slave experience because they sounded different before she got in the group and they sounded different after she left to go with Aura. But those three albums, the concept, Just a Touch, and Stone Jam, those three albums, to me, that was their pinnacle, and she was a major part of their success because of her vocals. So those were my honorable mentions that didn't make my list.
Okay.
But top 5.
I got one tune for honorable mention, and it was so popular, I'm surprised that nobody had picked it out yet, and that's Love Ballad by LTD.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Sung by Jeffrey Osborne. And all you got to do is start the music, and everybody starts swaying. And
I could never turn away from that song too, man.
Yeah.
That's my only one because it was just so strong.
Yeah.
And I saw Jeffrey Osborne last year when he came to Dayton to sing, and when he sung that song, the whole place was electrified.
Yeah.
You know what? He still has his voice. You know how some people might change the key of their songs, whatever. His voice is still strong. He still got a lot of power. He has a lot of power in his voice. He's kept himself really in good shape too.
I would tell you, man, I saw him last year too as well, summer of last year out here at the Greek, him and the Whispers and Confunction. Okay. And he probably had the best performance out of all three. This man ran from the Greek stage and walked all the way to the top to the very, very back of the Greek, singing the Woo Woo song, letting people sing on the mic, walked all the way back down. I mean, he took like 20 minutes. He just came out, talked to the people, let him sing, and he walked all the way back. The brother was fit. He made, and he's in his 70s.
Yeah.
I was like, this dude, he was hauling ass up them risers. I was like, wow.
You guys remember in the 90s when Sinbad had his summer jams on HBO?
Yeah.
His show on there was probably one of the top 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's been doing it for a long time. He's consistent, and
absolutely.
Him and Stephanie Mills, she still gives a good show too.
Damn good show. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So Delbert, you said you only had one pick?
Just one.
Okay. All right, brother Terrence, what you got? You got another honorable mention you want to?
Yeah, man, I got his back. I'll bring it forward to the table.
Okay.
One of them, the last one I wrote down was Force MD's Tender Love.
Woo!
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When you hear that raw piano and how they roll into that, that's a beautiful thing to mix if you're a sound engineer.
Yeah.
Something that clean.
That's Jimmy and Terry right there.
That's a Jam and Lewis production. Yeah.
Jimmy Jam playing the piano on that.
I got another one for you fellas. This is going to take you back. The artist is Jermaine Jackson. The song is I Am Love. Who remembers?
You mean the Jackson 5 version?
This is Jermaine when he broke off from his family.
Oh.
And this was on his album. It was his track. And it was cold.
You dug deep on that one.
That was back rudimentary. Absolutely. The next one you got, Can Surrender to You Cats, is going to be Spread My Wings by Troop.
Nice.
Yeah, they did a great job on that. And then
Chucky Booker.
Chucky Booker. Yeah, that's your boy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give a last one. That's gonna be Two Occasions by The Deal.
Okay.
That Two Occasions don't never get old either, man. You can always smile when that come on. Oh yeah.
My 5 alternatives. My Dear by Mint Condition. 92 came on it's on the Mo Money soundtrack.
Nice. Yeah.
That's a nice.
What song?
That's another song, man, where you don't need to hear the lyrics. The music just does does the work, man. That's a great song. Um,
What was the name again? It's called My Dear.
my dear, it's on the Mo Money soundtrack. It's
Oh,
mint
okay.
condition.
Okay. Okay.
Um, A Broken Heart Can Mend, Alexander O'Neill, 85.
Woo. Yeah,
Gamma
man.
Moves.
Yeah.
That's a great song. That's one of my favorites by Alex.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Alex is he's bad boy.
Let's see. This is a little obscure. I don't know if you guys have heard this one. Um, A Goodbye by Cameo. It's from the Single Life album in '85.
I'll check it out.
Yeah,
That,
yeah.
that's one of those, like, if you haven't heard it, you haven't heard it. But it's a great funk ballad song. And Charlie Singleton on the guitar, he does some work on that song on the guitar, soloing. Great song.
Check it out.
Did he sing lead on that or Tommy Jenkins?
Tommy and Larry.
Oh, Tommy and Larry. Okay.
Mostly Larry's doing most of the singing. I think Tommy does like some singing like on a bridge part, but
Okay.
that's Larry.
He's on he's on the bridge.
He's on the okay.
And then Charlie's doing the guitar solo.
Okay.
Yeah, he goes off on that one.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna look that one up tonight too.
The Never That You'll Never Know by Mint Condition
Ooh.
in '96. That's another one of those songs.
Definition of a band.
Now you took away my So Fine, Lamar, because
Yeah.
And Mint Condition's another one of those bands that has great ballads. They have great slow songs.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. I mean, when they came in with Pretty Brown Eyes, man.
I was just getting ready to say that.
Nobody had a song that started like that. That syncopation and that timing on that song. And then when they came in, woo, man.
Well, see, now you got Bruno Mars and who would he sing with?
Bruno's good too.
They did a song that's similar to that.
Yeah. Anderson .Paak.
Anderson .Paak.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. Anderson .Paak.
Now my 10th choice, I have to give you guys two because I couldn't decide. I couldn't leave one out or the other one out.
Okay.
At Your Best, You Are Loved by the Isley Brothers from '76. That's the one that Aaliyah covered back in '94 on her first album.
Right.
That's a great song. It Never Rains in Southern California, Tony.
Ooh,
Oh,
yeah. Yeah.
Another one I never get tired of.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody with the honorable mentions?
No, I think Jay still has to do his.
Oh, Jay. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I got 5 honorable mentions here. One of them being "If You Were Here Tonight" by Alexander O'Neill.
Oh, man.
That album, I'm noticing that a lot of you guys are picking a lot off that album. That album was a badass album.
Yeah.
But that song is every time that I hear that song, it's like, man, I gotta run that back. I gotta hear it again.
Let me tell you, I think Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis cut their teeth working with Alexander O'Neill and Sherelle and the SOS band, because when they got to Janet, I hear a lot of those progressions and movements. And I was like, that sounds familiar. Where'd that come from? And then I go back and say, oh yeah, Alexander or Sherelle. So they cut their teeth and they chose the stuff that and Babyface in LA do it too. They have certain progressions and certain little movements and stuff. But man, there is a lot of good stuff on Alexander's albums.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff on his albums. Yeah.
Especially the first 3 albums. There's some first 3 albums. Hearsay, All True Man, there's some gems on there.
Yeah.
Well, when Alexander O'Neill left the time, he became huge in Europe.
Oh yeah,
Huge.
Yeah,
And he still is.
most of
Right?
our R&B heroes do.
He still is a big thing in Europe, isn't he? He's still
yes,
very.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
that's
He's one
right.
of the few artists that has sold out. I think it's called Wembley Stadium or something like that.
Right, Wembley.
Whenever he tours over there, he sells that place out like
He
4 or 5 nights in a row.
He sells that Wembley Stadium because that's supposed to be like 100,000 people or something.
I don't know how big it is, but yeah, he sold. I think he sold it out.
Yeah, he has
Wow.
a pretty big following out there.
Yeah, he has a huge following. Look, you know what? All the acts that we mentioned tonight, every last one of them got huge followings overseas.
Look, you know you become big somewhere when you move there.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Right, right, right.
All right, so my second pick, man, and I dug a little deep on them, but this one, man, it gets under my skin every time I hear it, man. Johnny Guitar Watson, I want to ta-ta you, baby.
Woo.
That bass line and Johnny Guitar Watson's guitar playing in that, man, cold blooded. I love that one every time I play it and hear it, man. And that's another
Yeah,
one.
he was a good guy, man. I really liked his stuff. It was simple productions, but it was clean.
Oh man.
But to me, he was one of the forerunners. Even though he wasn't trying to do this, he was one of the forerunners of the Southern Soul circuit.
Mhm.
He wasn't trying to do that,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
think some of those people sort of listened to what he was doing and sort of got their groove off of that. Because, like I said,
Right.
it spoke to those people, his music.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he had an interesting career. All the changes that he went through as far as recording, rock, blues, and soul, funk, and things like that through the decades. So he was around a long time.
Right, right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's another one of my picks. And then also Between the Sheets by the Isley Brothers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one there, the bass line along the synth bass and the drum, so much has been pulled from that song. Still, I think when it came out then, it was a little bit ahead of its time. A sexy song, a two-stepping song. Yeah, that song is just one of those songs still today that you play. It's like, okay, let's slow grind for a little bit. So yeah, I love that one too. Another one I picked too as well is Munchies for Your Love by Bootsy.
Mhm.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That one, yeah, that one is like the way it creeps in, it leads in, it starts off real mellow, and then they go into this whole crescendo at the end. It's like, yeah, that one just mind blowing the way that one's arranged and everything. So I love that one. And I also got a last final pick, which is a second Bootsy cut, which is Very Yes off the Player of the Year album. So I love that one too, which is it's a fun song and it's also a good ballad as well.
Yeah, Bootsy,
Classics again.
when I first thought about what a funk ballad was, and somebody said, "Yeah, Bootsy," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't think about that." So yeah, Bootsy had a lot of nice stuff, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so in folk ballad, for me personally, like I said, it's mainly like if I listen to a song, it's a mellow song. It's good enough to make love to. It's good enough to slow grind to, two-step to, cruise to, relax to, drink brown liquor to, and I can wipe away the words and still enjoy the music by itself. And it's got that
Yeah.
bottom in it too, and it's still a mellow ballad cut. That to me describes a funk ballad. So those songs that we all pick hit home for everybody each individual way, but the funk ballad is a funk ballad to everyone in different ways.
Right.
I got a question for the group. Who wrote that song, I'd Rather Be With You?
That was Bootsy.
Bootsy and George Clinton.
Yeah, that's George and Bootsy.
Yeah. Yeah, Bootsy. As a matter of fact, that Stretching Out album just had an anniversary because it came out on January 31st, 1976.
Yeah.
And I remember when it first came out, and I was in a group a few years back, and I brought in Curdy Sanford as the drummer for that group. And we played a song off that album called Another Point of View.
Yeah, I know that
Oh,
one.
that first, oh man, that and Bootsy and his brother Catfish, man, those two cats, man, they was doing some stuff, man. They was doing some stuff. And one of my favorite James Brown songs right now to this day is Soul Power. The stuff that Catfish is playing on that guitar is just locked, and Boosie was doing his thing. So yeah, man, that Ohio, my two brothers here, they're gonna be with me on some future stuff, but we're gonna be highlighting some Dayton guys and some Cincinnati guys and some cats in Akron and whatnot. But man, we just were blessed to grow up in Dayton, and Dayton was so close to Cincinnati. And it's like the funk just came from Cincinnati to Hamilton to Dayton.
Cleveland had it held their own. Oh, I mean, I don't have to say who. Y'all know. OJ's, Levert.
Well, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, went up to Cleveland. Yeah.
Well, an interesting thing about a lot of the Ohio acts, the professional acts, they hung around in Dayton in the 60s and 70s. James Brown would be walking down Third Street. I remember seeing the OJs walking around on Third Street. There was an old club called Club Ebony, and they would hang around there just to see who's playing. Ohio players used to play at Club Ebony. They were almost like the house band at that club.
Right.
So, and they played so much jazz and fusion as well as funk that people always went to see the players because you didn't know what they were going to do. They would be in the middle of a song and then they would break into a jazz fusion thing that was like incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because I'm a huge fan of their Westbound era. And their Westbound era actually shows that. If you listen to like Pain and a lot of those songs, you can hear those. Yeah, you can hear those tempo changes and slowdowns and the groove.
Right.
Yeah, you can hear a lot going on back then. A lot more loose back then, I guess you could say.
They were.
Whereas opposed they
And,
got to Mercury, it was a little bit more structured.
It was a little bit more structured. And when they got to Mercury, in fact, I actually paid a visit to that studio. And
Paragon.
yeah. And it was just a small room. And the engineer said we used to take Marshall's amplifier and put it in the closet because he wouldn't record unless that big refrigerator amp was playing. So they took it, they threw a microphone in there and closed the door. And he had his, of course, he's playing live, so he's playing, but it's that back there shut behind the door with a mic in the room, and that's how they recorded the bass. He would not go direct.
Wow. And that's awesome about Marshall because I had talked. I'm sure I mentioned to a couple of you guys before. Marshall's one of the bassists along with Mark Adams. Like soon as the start of a song, you know that it's something's going to jump out. Skin tight, fire, whatever. When Marshall starts off a song, automatically know. And I saw not too long ago, I saw an interview with Ronald LaPree, and he said he wrote Brick House from Marshall's bass line. He was trying to mimic what Marshall did on Skin Tight.
Oh, wow.
So that's why Brick House is in the same key. He said, hey, so he said that Skin Tight bass line affected him so much that he's like, I got to write something that's like that.
Now that you're saying that, I hear it in my head. It makes sense. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I think Lamar, when you were living out here, I think I asked you a long time ago, man. I asked you that question one time. I said, knowing that you were from Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, and I remember I asked you, I said, man, what was in the water out there? That all that came out of there at that same time. What were you guys all drinking out there, man?
They were all in church, man. They were all raised in church.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is as kids, and one of my buddies told me a story. He's going to be on a future show that I'm going to bring in, and he told me a story about George Clinton at a studio session in Atlanta. And he said he went down there and they did the session. And when he got there, whenever they made some changes, the guy, Clinton, would ask him, "What you think, man?" And he's like, "Yeah, whatever, okay." And then after about the third or fourth time, this one guy said, "Man, why does he keep asking this guy?" So he said, "Man, this is Clinton now." He said, "Man, this guy's from Dayton." And he said, "The guys from Dayton, they didn't get toys for Christmas. They got music instruments." And that's what it was back then. We got music instruments as kids. And then we had parks, we had the showmobile, and then we had talent shows at a couple of the high schools. So as kids and teenagers, it was real cool to play and work on your craft, to be in a band, you know?
Minneapolis had that same culture.
Yeah, I heard that.
Not
Yeah.
to take away from us, but yeah.
Right.
So everybody, we got our 5 honorable mentions there. So I want to go ahead and let everybody take a moment to go ahead and spit out your Instagram or Facebook handle. If anyone wants to go ahead and drop those, if anyone wants to be contacted for any musical future reference, we can go ahead and start with Mr. Delbert. If you have any handles, do you like to tell anybody?
No, I'm pretty closed in.
Okay,
Basically.
okay. What about Mr. Terrence?
Digitalrecordings.com is the best place. I think I got a phone number on it. And handles in terms of Instagram and TikTok, all that. I got somebody that's going to be running that whole social media space for me shortly. And that person starts in about 30 days.
Cool.
And
Awesome.
I'll announce that should we go forward again.
Awesome. DJ Funkclone.
You can find my shows on Mixcloud. Look up Funkclone Radio and my alternate channel, which is the Wrap Up. You can find both of those on Mixcloud, and you can find Funkclone. You can find me on Instagram.
Lamar?
You can find me on Facebook as Lamar Webster, and you can also find me on IG at T Lamar Webster.
Awesome. I want to thank these 4 gentlemen for coming on and doing this for the new year. This is an excellent show that we're putting together here. Hopefully we can do many more in the future. And 2024 is starting to look good for all of us. So we're happy to make it into this new year and start this year off with this show and have a good, cool discussion amongst ourselves about some of our favorite funk jams and a good conversation about music in general. It's one of our favorite pastimes, so I'm sure we're going to be doing this a lot more often. I'm definitely looking forward. I want to thank Paul, DJ Funkclone, Terrence Humphries, Delbert Jones, and Lamar Webster for coming into the house today. Thank you, brothers. Solid. Have a good day and rest of your week. Peace.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you now.